Katt Williams tried to warn everyone, and once again, it looks like he was ahead of the curve. Long before any official documents were released, he was already calling out powerful celebrities. He said the truth was hiding in plain sight. Now that the Epstein files are public, those old warnings don't sound crazy anymore. If anything, they sound perfectly timed. When Katt sat down on Club Shay Shay, he wasn't just cracking jokes. He opened the door to conversations Hollywood didn't want anyone to have. He hinted that big names, not just politicians, were involved in things they desperately didn't want exposed. Back then, people laughed it off. Some called him bitter. But now, with names appearing in court documents and flight records, denial is getting harder to maintain. When the Epstein files were released, fans immediately rushed to defend their favorite stars. Many simply couldn't accept that celebrities they admired might be connected to serious allegations. And one name that sparked the biggest reaction? Jay-Z.
You take people like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living our people. So how the f they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, oh, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, I think they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Liars are now the face of our culture.
An anonymous accuser mentioned Jay-Z in the documents, instantly sparking outrage among his supporters. They argued the timeline didn't add up. According to them, he was just beginning his career in the mid-1990s and didn't yet have access to elite circles. But being new to fame doesn't mean being new to connections. Those are two very different things. Even early in his career, Jay-Z was already moving comfortably within powerful spaces. Old clips and interviews resurfaced, showing him closely associated with industry figures like Harvey Weinstein. To many viewers, the dynamic felt uncomfortable, almost controlled. People revisiting those moments said they noticed questions they had never seen before.
In your thoughts on Donald Trump and what it means for mass incarceration?
You know what? This is a labor of love for Jay, and as a result, he's my friend. We're here to talk about that and nothing else.
Well, then can I ask you about mass incarceration? And do you think the movement is...
On top of that, old photos and videos started circulating again, placing Jay-Z at high-profile parties alongside controversial figures. At the time, many people brushed Kanye off. Now those same words are being replayed with fresh ears, and it didn't stop there. Other celebrities named in the files are now facing renewed scrutiny. Naomi Campbell's name appeared in flight records, showing she traveled multiple times on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet in the early 2000s. She has publicly stated that she had no knowledge of his crimes and that she stands with the victims. Still, resurfaced emails and old footage circulating online have led many to question how much she truly knew, and what role she may have played in recruiting young models under the guise of work opportunities.
I'm still shocked that there's nothing about Naomi Campbell really coming forward yet. I'm surprised. I'm like bitterly surprised. Her time.
Yeah, they said her name was on the list like the most as far as like flight records.
Yeah.
She was on a lot of flights.
A lot of flights.
You mentioned
also Diddy's ex-girlfriend.
Hey.
Isn't that funny? What a small world.
There you go.
After the party is the hotel lobby.
Come on, Jack. Come on. Wait.
You want to know what's funny though?
Yeah.
Naomi Campbell is finally being dressed.
Yeah. What? Y'all ain't heard?
Cruella DeVille is finally being checked.
Wow. Hey, I've seen some shit. I've seen something on that.
Listen to me, any woman that Mike Tyson has to put a restraining order on
It's a problem.
needs to be checked.
That is facts. Them is facts. Oh wait.
I keep telling everybody, she the Ghislaine.
Man.
I'm still trying to figure out how she pulled that off. When she was able to get a white woman to go to jail for.
Then there's Bill Gates. Years ago, he admitted on television that spending time with Jeffrey Epstein was a mistake. He claimed it was limited to just a few dinners. But the documents suggest a much deeper relationship, repeated contact and connections that went far beyond casual meetings. Not long after his marriage ended, Melinda French Gates later spoke openly about how disturbed she was by Epstein and how deeply the situation affected her. Bill has since denied the allegations and apologized for his association with Epstein. Still, many people remain unconvinced.
I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him. No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that. It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Even Chris Tucker's name appeared in the records, linked to a flight on Jeffrey Epstein's jet in the early 2000s. Now, being listed doesn't automatically prove wrongdoing. But the growing list of familiar names makes one thing clear: this wasn't a small circle, and it wasn't limited to one industry. Chris and his team quickly shifted into damage control mode. They stated his name surfaced only because he was on Epstein's private jet for what they described as a humanitarian trip to Africa, focused on charity work and AIDS awareness.
You knew Jeffrey Epstein, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. We flew Bill Clinton and a lot of different, that was a humanitarian trip to Africa.
Yeah.
And I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitary people. We was with a delegation. And yeah, I met him and you don't know people, what they do in their private lives. So, yeah.
But tell me this, Chris. You was on this private plane and you could tell that it was a private plane because they called it, Lolita Express?
Oh, yeah, it was a private plane. Yes. Oh, yes.
But wait a minute. You didn't never go to that island, did you?
No. I don't know where that thing at. No. I don't think. Hey, we was going to Africa to save lives.
According to his team, the trip also included Bill Clinton and Kevin Spacey. It was presented as official and completely innocent, but almost no one believed that explanation.
Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Oh, Lord.
Whew.
Ever talk to you about hey, I know Donald Trump, hey, I know Kevin Spacey, hey, I know Leonardo DiCaprio? Did he ever talk about these celebrities and these stories with them or anything like that?
No, he would tell me things like I knew when he flew Clinton to Africa, which is what first put him on the map. He told me he went to Africa. He took Spacey, Chris Tucker. He would mention people's names that he was with, but he wouldn't tell me much about them themselves. Mm-hmm. But he would tell me he was with so and so.
If I didn't know no better, I'd tell you he's the greatest. I don't care what you say. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill. Most of these confident people we see is really delusional.
Well, you don't think they asked Chris Tucker to come back in the second Friday?
Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking weed. He don't smoke weed like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither. Must be the greatest.
Man, I ain't gonna be able to get nobody back on. I ain't gonna be able to get no more comedians.
They all coming.
No, they ain't.
Are you kidding?
Nah.
Hey, I promise you.
I done got all the rest of them. I done got the ones.
I promise you, everybody trying to double back. You're gonna be having to beat them off with a stick. You won't let him. They're coming. Much as.
Bringing up Bill Clinton only made things worse. By now, everyone has seen the photos of Clinton inside Jeffrey Epstein's mansion, looking far too relaxed for someone who supposedly had no idea what was happening. For many people, that level of comfort spoke louder than any public statement. And Chris Tucker was moving in those same circles while all of this was unfolding. Yet he expects the public to believe he knew nothing. That's a hard sell. Just when it seemed like Katt was finished, more voices stepped in. As the documents continued circulating, longtime singer Jaguar Wright resurfaced with her own perspective, adding fuel to the ongoing conversation about power in the music industry. In a lengthy interview, she made it clear her issues with Jay-Z weren't based on one single incident. She said it was something she watched build over time.
Adjacent to, or, traveling in the same circles as the person that's been selected to be this icon. Because let's just be very clear, he was selected, just like Diddy was selected. Question is by who? Now, for many years, I minded my business about a lot of things, but a lot of things came to me. I heard a lot of things. You gotta remember, this was back when I was still trying to be amicable with the industry so that I could have my career, so that I could have my life, right? Everything that I worked for, everything that I sacrificed. Up until, what? 2016, 2017, I was still ignoring a lot of things. A lot of things. It wasn't until I couldn't ignore it anymore because I realized this ain't going nowhere. And then when I started seeing exactly how dangerous things had become, it was very simple. It's either you're going to speak up or they're going to keep getting away with it, or you're going to get handled up on regardless because you're not playing along the way you should be playing along. Like that's how this works. Like, the people that get rewarded are the people that keep the secrets, the people that are quiet, and the people that lie for them. The people who get a pass are the people who pretend that like they don't know what's going on. And then the people that speak up are the people that, get persecuted, get framed, get trashed, are forced to go broke, that kind of shit. So yeah, like, I cannot say that it was an overnight process. I was hoping. See, I was always so quick to just blame, all of the harm and just the terrible shit in the industry on Diddy. I wasn't really willing to accept the fact that they were working together.
Eventually, she hit a breaking point. According to her, the industry doesn't reward honesty, it rewards silence. The ones who keep secrets go along with the program or pretend not to see anything get protected. The ones who speak up, she claims, get pushed out, discredited, or financially destroyed. Jaguar also admitted that she once placed all the blame on Diddy alone. But over time, she said she realized the situation was far bigger and far more connected than she wanted to admit. That's why she struggles to believe the public narrative that certain powerful figures were never close or never worked together, especially when past interviews and footage seem to suggest otherwise.
So, Jag, with Jay-Z in his situation, as far as the early Jay-Z, you see him with Aaliyah Young, of course, goes to Dame Dash next. You see him with Foxy Brown. You see the maturation of Beyonce, him getting with Beyonce. You see Rihanna at a young age. Is it more so, and you were young as a singer, is it more so that, when you're in this industry, men are gonna most likely talk and date their peers? And it's just that technically all the new rising stars at that time
are babies.
Were just young women, just young kids.
Babies. Being ran around by grown men. Babies. I got offered my first record deal when I was 13 years old. I got offered another one when I was 15. I'm so grateful that my father said no. I ended up not signing a record deal until I was in my early 20s. And as young as that is, looking back now, at least I was a legal adult. Most of these girls, They get moved around and touched around very early on. And, you know, and the people that have control of everything are untouchable. So how do you argue with that?
Is it of concern that before this list came out, that the people in this power they have their hands in keeping this list, you know, suppressed?
Yeah. Come on, man. I think we're speaking about this from a place where we're trying to make it seem like things are fair and people are just and people are decent. And rather than looking at it for what it is, the one thing that all of these files and all of these documents, and let's just be clear, we're talking about 3 million documents that have been released so far. When you release that amount of information, you're doing it to fatigue people. You know, it's going to take people quite some time to get through all of these files, and who knows how long they're going to be available. Stuff might start go missing, things of that nature. But we all should be going through and combing through every inch of everything that's going on, because when they put that much out there, they're hoping you're going to just overlook something. They're hoping you're going to get fatigued from all of the information, and you're not. We got to keep looking. Like, we have like 4 people around us that are every day combing through a bit, combing through a bit. We combing through a bit, combing through a bit. And you got to sit down and you got to take your time and look at it. What these files prove is that there are no rules, is that nothing has ever been fair. It's been being covered up. Like, that's the point.
She explained that denial is comfortable. It's easier to dismiss uncomfortable information than to confront it. She pointed to media voices that downplayed the Epstein documents, saying things like, names being mentioned doesn't mean anything, or these aren't official, or it was just a tip line. Jaguar wasn't buying it. Her question was simple. If none of it meant anything, why were the files kept sealed for so long? She said, people are quick to destroy innocent individuals over rumors, yet bend over backward to defend powerful figures whose names are tied to Epstein. To her, that makes no sense. If someone's name is connected to Epstein in any serious way, she believes that alone should trigger serious questions, not automatic excuses. When the conversation shifted to the Department of Justice, the host asked the obvious question, why were these files hidden for so long? The Epstein Files Transparency Act didn't come into effect until mid-2025, forcing disclosure. Before that, both the Trump and Biden administrations had opportunities to release the information, and neither did. Jaguar made one thing clear, this isn't about politics.
Trump administration, don't forget the Biden administration had the ability to release these files as well, and they didn't either.
True.
So this isn't a political thing. Let's stop making it political. I think everyone wants to make it political. Oh, look at the politicians, and this isn't about the rappers, and this isn't about this, and this is about the politicians. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you got Democrats and Republicans equally aligned up in this whole foolishness. This is about a certain class of people in this country that have been doing all kinds of shit. And it really doesn't matter what your religious background is, what your social standing is, or what your political standing is. It really doesn't matter. This is not about them versus us, or no. This is about the weirdos and then the normal people, and not even normal people, just decent people. The problem is that the weirdos are outnumbering, it's looking like, the decent people 10-1. Like, does anybody get that? Like, the simple fact that nobody is holding TMZ into account for anything, and they've been mentioned in these files. Harvey Levin specifically.
To Jaguar, the silence says it all. Elon Musk's situation also took a sharper turn with the release of the documents. Musk has previously claimed he refused invitations to Jeffrey Epstein's island, but emails from 2012 suggest something very different.
Tonight, the Department of Justice releasing their final batch of files connected to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. New emails from 2012 and 2013 show billionaire Elon Musk and Epstein coordinating a possible visit to the financier's infamous island. Musk asks when the wildest party will be. In another exchange, Epstein telling Musk there is always space for you and says he will send a heli for him. It's not clear if Musk ever visited the island. Musk's name has popped up in prior releases, including from the House Oversight Committee's release from the Epstein estate. He did not respond to NBC News' request for comment, but previously called Epstein a cretin and said he never advised him. Musk told Vanity Fair that Epstein tried repeatedly to get him to his island, but he declined. Emails also show Trump Cabinet Secretary Howard Lutnick coordinating a visit in the Caribbean in 2012. It's not clear if the meetings happened. Lutnick claimed to have cut ties with Epstein in 2005.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
But the emails show drink and lunch meetings being arranged between the two well into 2012. A Commerce Secretary spokesperson said in a statement, quote, Secretary Lutnick has had limited interactions with Mr. Epstein in the presence of his wife and has never been accused of wrongdoing. The drop also includes a spreadsheet summary of complaints made to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. It contained allegations against former President Donald Trump and former President Bill Clinton. There's no indication the FBI turned up evidence supporting the tips. And a note on the file read some of these individuals are reporting secondhand information and determined some of the tips were not credible. The DOJ later temporarily pulled the file without explanation. Both former presidents have denied any wrongdoing.
Woody Allen's name appears repeatedly throughout the files. Jeffrey Epstein often tried to organize dinners involving Allen, sometimes including other well-known figures. Epstein also helped facilitate introductions related to Allen's film projects. At one point, a prominent lawyer contacted Epstein about getting his son work on an Allen film. Epstein responded that he would look into it. Katt Williams also highlighted something people rarely talk about. He said some public figures project one image but somehow never face legal trouble, even while speaking as if they live the opposite kind of life. In his view, that contrast alone should make people stop and think. He compared it to a chessboard. You don't play the game without pawns, and you never fully know who's playing which role. When asked if public figures sometimes change after reaching certain levels of power, Katt didn't hesitate. He said, "People don't always come out the same on the other side of big choices. Once someone crosses lines they once swore they never would, something about them shifts. And no amount of image repair can fully bring back who they used to be." He explained that offers and pressure aren't limited to entertainment, they appear in every field. Some of it, he said, is just human nature. People listen. People stay quiet. People justify things to survive. Katt shared that even he was shocked when he personally saw how much control certain powerful figures had behind the scenes. There were moments when it became clear that some people were used to never hearing the word no. If they wanted something, they expected the system to bend until they got it. Toward the end, the conversation turned to government agencies and long-standing rumors. Katt didn't dismiss them outright. He said people often misunderstand what agencies like the FBI or CIA actually do. In his view, they've always been doing their jobs. Sometimes that job involves watching, documenting, and waiting for decades if necessary. He made one final point that hit hard. The only reason these files can surface decades later is because someone was watching and recording the whole time. That realization, he said, is the part that should truly make people uneasy. Now that the files are public, celebrities who once felt untouchable are suddenly quiet, defensive, or disappearing from the spotlight. Hollywood is uncomfortable right now, and for the first time in a long time, it shows.